Not see my face today. What?
What's up, y'all? We're live on YouTube and Facebook. We're not live on Instagram yet. Now we're live on Instagram.
We are live. Yeah.
How you doing?
Sorry,
How
you
you
can't
doing?
see my face. I mean, I guess you guys don't really need to see my face, but
They probably prefer it that way.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. You like my glasses?
You already asked me that.
These are the new Keto Coach glasses.
Are they Keto Coach?
Yeah.
They made blue blocker glasses?
They made blue blocker glasses.
Why didn't I get any?
Because you're not as cool as me.
Huh? Just kidding. Robert gets all the cool stuff.
I'm the cool guy.
But he doesn't ever
BioSense? How you
offer
doing?
it to me like, hey, Crystal, you want to do this test instead of myself?
You want to try the glasses
Sure.
on?
Oh, got my hat on, so it's all hard to get him on. Okay.
Grainy Crystal over here. Long time no chat. I know, man. We need to do like another podcast or something.
I look like a complete dweeb.
You are a dweeb. All right, so today we're diving in with an initial conversation on different body compositional analysis methods. So when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about how to measure what your body fat percentage is, how to measure what your lean muscle tissue is, how to measure all that stuff, bone density. Having that information at your fingertips is really good for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes, when it comes to determining your macronutrients, people can go online, they can find a macro calculator anywhere online, but those are going to be much more accurate if you put in the correct data points, namely being what your body fat percentage is, what your lean muscle mass composition is. So having that information is key. So I'm a big fan of tracking that. Depending on what methods we're using, I'd like to get some metrics on a bi-weekly basis. If I'm doing a competition prep, I'm definitely tracking those metrics on a bi-weekly basis to make sure that my body fat percentage is going down, my lean muscle mass is staying pretty constant and not dipping. If my primary objective is to build muscle, I want to be tracking that to make sure that my lean muscle tissue is increasing and my body fat is not increasing unnecessarily rapidly. Now, what are some methods to do that? You want to just roll out the ones that come to mind for you?
Yeah, like a DEXA scan, InBody. A lot of people have like the at-home scales. There is I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's just like one little device that you hold out straight.
Omron. Omron, something like that.
And there is the Bod Pod, and there is the 3D, what is it called? Like the 3D.
There's several different brands now, but 3D graphic imaging.
Yeah. And then what else is there?
And there's dunk tanks.
Dunk tanks?
Yeah. Like
the water?
Yeah. Dunk tanks. Not like the ones at the fair where you throw a ball and it dunks you. Those are dunk tanks too, though. So yeah, like the main ones are, you've got like just the bathroom scales, which are basically bioelectrical impedance scales, or just like some metric based off of what height you put in when you first get the scale, whether or not you're an athlete, and then the weight, which is probably the most inaccurate.
I did actually find out, I was talking to my sister about her scale, which does tell you like body fat percentage, lean mass, But she was doing some research on hers because her body fat is not actually correct on there, and it's on the correct thing. It's under female. It's not under athlete. And so she was doing some reading up on it, and it turns out that it actually just goes up one leg and down the other, and it doesn't actually do your whole body. So if your legs and your upper body are not equal, like if you hold more weight in your upper body rather than your lower body, then it actually probably will not read correctly because it really only does your legs. It goes up one leg and down the other. I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
I'm honestly not really a fan of most bathroom scales. Most bathroom scales are pretty inaccurate. If they have the little impedance probes on there, if they have probes where you have to like have your socks off and be measuring, skin to skin, that's going to be some type of bioelectrical impedance scan, which is basically measuring the displacements, I'm going to butcher this, but like of electricity through the fluid in your body to measure the composition. That's what an InBody machine is. So when you stand on an InBody machine, you hold the handheld things. That is what that is. those are quite a bit more accurate, but there can be a lot of disparity based off of how hydrated you are. So definitely keep that in mind. If you go in one day and you get your InBody scan, and you go in 2 weeks later and it shows that you've lost a bunch of muscle and gained a bunch of fat, but you don't know what else has changed. But if you look at, oftentimes those have a metric for water, total body water, and if those are very far off time to time, then that's where most of that's likely stemming from. So keep that in mind. The Caliper test, a Caliper test is honestly one of my favorite for just at-home testing if you have somebody that can consistently do that Caliper test. So I use the Jackson Pollock 7-point test. We have a medical grade caliper. Crystal pinches me at the 7 pinch points, and then we plug that into an equation, and that gives me a body fat percentage. It's a little bit low on me. It tends to measure a little low, but I do like that for just simplicity and efficiency.
You can do like more points. Like I think there's like a 21 point. I don't remember how many there was, but there is ones that you can get more and more and more accurate. We just do the 7 point.
Yeah, and there's other ones that are like 3 points. Generally speaking, the more points, the better. There's like certain military, like the I don't know what it's called, but like a military fat test is basically where they take like 3 measurements, like neck, shoulders, and waist, I want to say, and based off of your weight and those measurements, it calculates a body fat percentage, which is not super accurate. The DEX is the gold standard. That's measuring basically through a slight degree of radioactivity, or radiation rather. Radioactivity, it's just radiation. Basically, that's looking at like bone density. It's going to actually take like a scan of your body to really pick apart and show what your lean mass is, what your body fat percentage is, what the density of your bones are, known as the Z-score, all that information. So that is the gold standard. Oftentimes, they're pretty expensive, though. We are lucky because we have one that's only like $35 a visit. So super nice.
Most places, I feel like it's like $100 a visit.
Or more, yeah, even like 150.
Yeah, I don't know why we live in Arkansas.
Yeah. I am tempted though, because there is an InBody for a consumer use, not commercial use, that is like a bathroom scale, except it has like a handheld probe that is attached to a cord. So you stand on it, it gets your weight, and then you grab that handheld probe, and then it has the 2 touch points, your hands and your feet. And I would think that would be much more accurate than any of the other bathroom scales. So I'm tempted to pull a trigger and buy one of those, simply because I want to document this muscle building, keto muscle building journey to the best of my ability. I think that would be a good asset there. But they're like $350, which is pretty pricey for a bathroom scale.
Let's just get to like the main point, I think, is that bathroom scales can be great, but they most of the time are not accurate. Sometimes the InBodies are the same way. So a lot of times, like Robert and I will suggest still doing them, still looking at your bathroom scale to see if it has body fat or whatever, InBody as well. They can be significantly off. So if it tells you that you are 20% body fat, you might actually be 25, 26, 27. Most of the time they underguess with most people.
You like my jug? I guess they're hydrating.
Yeah. So if you're doing it at an at-home scale or something like that, there's nothing wrong with using it, even though usually it underguesses your body fat. Because what you can use it for is if you're trying to obtain a goal of like weight loss or muscle gain, a lot of times it will still show you a trend. So you can look at the trend of your body fat. If it's going down, then it's still going to be going down in general, even if the total number is off. And if your lean mass is going up, your lean mass is going to be going up, even if the lean mass number that they have on there is not correct, if that makes sense. You just want to be able to see the trends more than the actual like exact number. Yes,
trends is where it's at. All right, let me run through some of these. Jonathan, what's up, man? How are you? Stephanie says, what happens if you don't do athlete? If you don't do athlete, I think it's going to automatically partition some of that weight as being more fat mass as opposed to muscle mass. But I don't really know. But yeah, I don't really know where they would draw the line to like what determines an athlete. Like if you do the laundry once a week and the rest of your time is at a computer, that wouldn't be considered an athlete in my opinion. But I don't know. Like, I need to look into that more to see what the lines are on that.
I had something in my eye and someone told me not to touch my eye. Sorry if that grosses you out or weirds you out, but I had something in it. I'm not going to not get it.
Bioelectrical impedance seems really dependent on hydration and even electrolytes. Yeah, hydration's so key. So when I'm doing that consistently, I'm also typically measuring out my electrolytes and my water intake, and I'm just super consistent with that to get the most accuracy. Rosanna says, will there be a replay? I just joined. Yes, there will be a replay live on YouTube.
On Facebook, on Instagram. Yo, what's goody? Just kidding. Well, hello, ladies and gents.
What's up? How are you? Hungry Heath. Happy World Carnivore Month from Houston, Texas.
Just got my bricks in today.
Texas. Oh, nice.
The DEXA scan said I gained 3 pounds of visceral fat while I was upping my fat to reset my hormones. Super helpful and helps me make some positive changes.
Yeah, that's one good thing about the DEXA scans, too. They'll show a lot of the visceral fat, whereas a lot of the other ones won't really dive into that. Mike says, if you have an inner tube for a waistline, the caliper test can be lots of fun. You have an inner tube for a waistline.
Well, actually, there is a... Oh, poor connection.
What's he mean, inner tube for waistline?
If you are thicker in your midsection.
Ah, yeah.
Actually, there is like a kind of like a cutoff point. If you are a heavier set person, if you are considered overweight or obese, then we don't actually recommend that you do the caliper test. A lot of times that can make it go off, and a lot of people are a little bit more insecure with doing a test like that. So a lot of times the DEXA scan or InBody is going to be better if you are overweight or obese.
Rosanna says, what about the whole body MRI scan to test for visceral fat in all the organs? Dr. Sean O'Mara does this in his office in Michigan. Yeah, I mean, that is pretty much the DEXA. I'm assuming that's pretty much what it is. The MRI scan is basically what the DEXA is similar to. So
you like lay on a bed and it just takes scans over your entire body all the way down. It takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, 10 minutes or so.
Jen says, thanks. I was just going to ask about the cheaper body comp scales. The closest DEXA scan place is 200 miles from me in Alaska. Whew. Yeah, that would be crazy. A hike. Yeah, I would, if you're going to get a bathroom scale, then I would recommend kind of getting that higher end. Like if you're actually wanting to use it for the accuracy, then our bathroom scale is the Withings bathroom scale, and I do like it. It's pretty good. And I think we paid like $124 or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But it's been super solid. Stephanie says, thanks. You bet, Stephanie. Jen says, when you guys were talking PB cut bricks, missed the opportunity this last time. So we've got ingredients in route. We're probably going to be able to make some this week and get some back on the website by this weekend, hopefully. Not a whole lot, but some. And then we've got, like I said, more ingredients coming, and we'll make a massive production of it as soon as that gets in.
Yep.
So it's coming. Cindy says, thanks guys for the great content. You're so knowledgeable and yet so simple. I like that we can shoot a question to you and actually get an answer. You're so helpful, and the bricks are so delicious. Well, thank you, Cindy.
Yeah, thanks.
We definitely, we can use big words. I don't know if Chris can use big words.
That's not a lie.
That's kind of mean. But there's no point in it sometimes. I mean, a lot of people throw out big words just to be impressive, but it's not digestible in common language. Like anybody that's just having a conversation with people, they're not trying to impress them. Like if I'm meeting you at a coffee shop and having a cup of coffee and just talking shop, I don't need to throw out big words. I'd rather it be easily digested. Yeah,
we are just people like everyone else. It's why make things fancy and crazy and hard to. Sometimes people are literally just so smart, or they've spent so much time in a lab or so much time in school that is their everyday knowledge. Whereas sometimes it's people like me who say all the time, and you're learning things, but it's so much easier to have a conversation with someone and explain it in layman's terms than medical terms, if that makes sense.
There's a Friends episode. I don't normally reference TV shows. It's the only TV show I've ever seen all the way through. But there's a Friends episode where Joey has to write this letter so that Monica and
Monica and
Chandler can get an adopted kid. So he writes his letter, and then he uses a thesaurus to swap out every single letter for some bigger word from a thesaurus.
And then none of it makes any sense.
And then none of it
all.
makes any sense at all. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to do that when it comes to anything nutrition and health related.
Here's a big word. Your bricks are problematically tasty. Gone in 5 minutes if I don't pay attention. That's funny.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Problematically tasty.
Problematically tasty.
Ha ha ha. Love that the Friends reference.
Yeah, you gotta love Friends.
Yeah.
You gotta love Friends.
Friends is our favorite.
Yeah, that's literally the only show we've ever watched. And we finished it. So now we have no more friends.
No more friends.
No more
We're
friends.
friendless.
Sarah says, you guys are the best. I'm going to check out a gym tomorrow. I've lost 125 pounds with keto, but I need to step things up and get some more muscle. Not sure how I should start, though. Well, first of all, congrats, Sarah. That is awesome. As far as how you should start, getting a membership at the gym, like you're talking about, is a good first step. Make sure you're eating enough food, specifically protein and fats, to fuel your training endeavors in the gym and have the amino acids from the proteins as the building blocks necessary to build that muscle. So make sure you're eating enough. A lot of people, this is like, I see this all the time. People that have lost a bunch of weight, they're so scared to put any weight back on that they don't eat enough, and it makes putting any muscle on incredibly hard. So,
make sure you're eating enough for sure.
Yeah, don't be scared. Like, just because the scale goes up, that doesn't mean that's a bad thing. Like, the scale going up may mean that you're just building more muscle, which is a good thing.
Yep.
So don't measure your progress just off the scale. Use an InBody or an DEXA. There we go, making it full circle there. You see what I did? All right, we got any more questions over there? What's up, Savages?
Yep.
Brewing keto. So he brews beer, but he's brewing keto, and keto is not beer. It's not keto beer, but he's a brewster.
Really?
Yeah, pretty cool.
That would be really hard to brew beer and not drink it.
No, I think he probably samples it.
No, probably.
But Dad used to make beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Minnesota, I remember he had like all the pots and pans and copper line. He wasn't making whiskey or anything. It was beer, but pretty cool.
That is really cool.
We need some more questions,
No
y'all.
drinking during a cut.
No drinking during a cut. There you go. We need some questions.
Yeah, this was a quick one.
This is a quick one. I've still got to go on a run today.
Here I am sticking fingers in my eyes and eating my fingernail.
Not using big words.
And not using big words. Hey, y'all, I'm from Arkansas.
Redneck over here.
I just feel like I'm like the least caring about germs person ever. Blood work question. Have you experienced elevated
ApoB on keto? I don't remember what my last ApoB blood work was, but it wasn't out of We're back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, so
I also haven't had my blood done, so I don't know.
But I will get that updated and taken a blood test because I am curious now that you mentioned it. All right, so over here we have Jen says, what do you think of laying in tanning beds? There's not much sun in Alaska in the winter. Tanning beds get a really bad rap, and it's probably not optimal to be sitting in a tanning bed repetitively day after day. But if you're in Alaska where there's no sun, you need vitamin D, and you can get vitamin D from a tanning bed. So in that case, it's probably honestly not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. They even, like, my dad has really bad psoriasis, and they suggested he go lay in a tanning bed. And you don't have to do it very, very long. Do not go in there long enough to burn yourself, Robert. But if you can get in natural sun, then get in natural sun. And then also you can supplement vitamin D, but you're going to want to pair that with a K or a K2 in order to get better absorption.
Carl says, looking at your macro calculator, is there an activity multiplier that you would recommend for someone who trains 30 minutes, 6 days a week, and stands in an office for the rest of the day? I would probably use the 1.37 multiplier. I use the 1.55 for me. I train every day. I run a mile every day, but most of my day is spent at a computer. So if you're doing 30-minute workouts and most of your days are at a computer, I would probably do the 1.375. By the way, I'm totally updating my macro calculator with the website update, and it'll be much better.
Did your SHBG go down with boron? Did you do something about boron?
I take boron. I'm the worst with acronyms, though. What is SHBG? I've got so many acronyms in my head that I forget what they all mean, what they all are. Any updates on the compounds? So the compound is coming along quite nicely. We're actually going up there this weekend, and we may take some updated footage of the compound. So I'll let that be a teaser. We'll just get some updated footage this weekend, and I'll make that into a YouTube video. But yeah, it's coming along great.
Brewing Keto said, I tanned twice in my early 20s, burnt my butt so bad I couldn't wear pants.
Yeah, there's a point, like if you're in a laying bed, not a standing bed, but a laying bed, your butt gets so burnt and it like itches like crazy.
Yeah, it does itch.
Oof,
yeah.
Crazy. Shannon says, this somewhat has to do with body composition, but can you explain the salt manipulation towards the end of a cut? All right, that is a very, very deep question. How can I make this not so incredibly deep that I lose 90% of the audience? All right, so if you're peaking, right? So if you're in a cut and you're peaking to look the best you can on show day, keep in mind that your body's smart. So anytime you manipulate your water, sodium, potassium, magnesium, your body will likely change and shift to reestablish a baseline equilibrium point within about 48 hours. However, if you're trying to peak for a very specific time, like you're stepping on stage for a show, you can increase sodium slightly the day before and the day of to draw some of the extracellular fluids and water in your body into your actual muscle tissue and cells and outside of your subcutaneous layer of skin. That's going to make your skin appear thinner, your muscles appear fuller, and you have a more vascular look overall. But again, keep in mind, that's only going to last for a very finite period of time. Your body adjusts after about 36 to 48 hours.
SHBG is sex-binding hemoglobin.
Yeah.
I've not got my blood done, so I don't really know.
I don't think the boron, like I wasn't controlling boron specifically to measure that, so I don't know how much boron affected it completely as a controlled variable. But I do remember that, I mean, everything dipped a little bit at the end of my prep since I was so low on the calories. So I want to get a test now that the prep is over, but that will dip if you're in a really calorically depleted state for any length of time.
Do you still use Bulletproof for mental energy? Bulletproof.
I do with fatty coffee.
Bulletproof. I was thinking Mind Bullet.
There is another one by Bulletproof that is called, oh shoot, what's it called? Smart Mode, I think. And I do like that a lot. I take that before a podcast.
I just do coffee with cream.
Yeah. Here we go. YouTube feed frozen for anyone else. It did freeze for a little bit. Hopefully it is back now. Have you ever seen someone's Triggs go up on keto, pretty strict for 4 months, very low HDL in the 30s and normal Triggs prior, then HDL remained low and Triggs went up to 230s? Did your LDL change at all? It is very normal to see an elevation in those initially, because like when you first go keto, even 4 months, it's not a massive amount of time, honestly. But like, especially if you're eating some trace carbs and your total carb count's going up. But the first few months of keto, it's not uncommon to see your Triggs go up because your body still hasn't really figured out how to assimilate that fat and really make it, make it work for it, use it efficiently. So that will be an increase in Triggs. But then as your body gets more efficient at using fat as the primary fuel source, you'll see those start to stabilize. I would be curious to know what your LDL is, and I would be curious to see how that tracks over time, like over, what does 6 months look like? What does 8 months look like? What's a year look like? But those should improve, and you should see an increase in HDL. I wouldn't know why your HDL would stay low. Never mind. Okay, so it's working now. Sex binding hemoglobin. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many acronyms in my head. Like, you start seeing them, you're like, oh, what is that? And some of them, you just start losing them all. If you need help shooting some video at the new compound, I'm off work for a few days or for a few weeks. I can come over and help shoot some video. Very nice, man. I don't know what we're gonna do. I would like to do like a full-blown video unboxing. Yeah, it's definitely not done. But I did get a gimbal the other day that's super sweet. So I'm excited to show you some footage that I recorded on that. I think it makes all the difference in the world. Rosanna says, what is the best short home training program to improve body composition? Short home training, I would probably do something like, depends what you're doing. Like if you're doing weights, if you're doing bands, but if you're keeping it super short, most bang for your buck, probably doing like an upper body, lower body split, or like a push-pull leg split. And Crystal has them on her website.
I have like a bands only and then a dumbbell only program like on my website. It's 12 weeks, but you do the same workouts 2 weeks in a row so that your body can kind of adjust to it, and then you can challenge yourself the second week. So that's a really good way to get started and just have some sort of direction too.
Yeah, ladysavage.com.
Oh yeah, that ladysavage.com.
We'll test again in a few months. Thanks. No trace carbs, pretty strict. Yeah, if you're not doing any trace carbs, I would think your body is going to become efficient at using that fat more quickly than if you had a bunch of trace carbs in there. So I would definitely test again. I mean, being adapted for 2 weeks is different than being adapted for 6 months, which is different than being adapted for a year and 2 years. Like, it just keeps getting more, you get more polished at how you use fat once you've been strict keto for a while.
Our workout stuff you just shot going on the new, is the workout stuff that you just shot going on the new website?
Yes. All the workout stuff that I shot this past weekend with Bronson will be on the new website for sure. I lost where I was at. Okay, so I do kettlebell swings about 3 times a week. Yeah, kettlebell swings are great, but I would definitely mix it up and do, you can use kettlebell still, but like use variations of different kettlebell exercises. Like, so doing a press, doing a squat, doing step ups, doing stuff like that, doing lunges, more than just the swings by themselves. My chocolate peanut butter cup just arrived. I'm trying it for the first time now. Tastes great.
Oh, thanks.
Now that is the feedback I like to hear. Glad you like it, man. I do 12 minutes HIIT without workout consisting of 3-minute squats, 2-minute lunges, 1.5 minute squats, 1 minute burpees, 30-second jump squats, and 1 minute in between these sets. Any thoughts? That sounds pretty good. So do you do that? Like, that's 1 round of the HIIT? How many rounds of those total? I would assume it would take about 30 minutes, you said, to do a full workout. So I would try and do a little bit heavier. Minutes. Right, but the earlier one was about 30-minute workout. So if she does that, probably repeats it 3 times, I would guess. I would try and do some heavy compound movements if you can, if your joints are good, like doing some deadlifts, some presses. I don't know what all you have in addition to that for equipment, but really getting some heavy weights with proper form is going to be, a lot of bang for your proverbial buck, so to speak.
Resistance of any sort is going to be really good. You can use the kettlebell that you have, and that will really help your bones, your joints, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, all the things. It will help you year after year after year if you are adding in some of the resistance as well.
Got it. Salt follow-up. Does it change for lean body mass readings during that swole time? Yeah, it's definitely going to affect anytime you manipulate your salt, it'll definitely affect your lean body mass and your body fat percentage, especially if you're doing like an InBody test. So don't let any of those numbers mess with your head too much.
I get enough of the limited edition bricks. Any new in the work I can get? I'm guessing that meant I can't get enough. Oh yeah, there it is. Is there anything new in the works? There's always something new in the works.
We actually taste tested a few bricks yesterday. couple new formulas. We don't really love them though, so we're gonna keep
gonna take a minute.
keep working on those. But they're exciting. But yeah, we're gonna make more of the chocolate peanut butter cup, so don't worry there. I'm insulin resistant. Insulin is at 11. Whew, yeah, that's pretty high, man. So I would definitely keep on the keto journey. I mean, I don't know if you did the 4 months and you got off of it, or if you're still going strong. But I would definitely keep going strong, and make sure you're. Oh, there's so many things we can dive into. I need to know a lot more to be able to give you any direct, wisdom there. But I would make sure that your dietary fat is high enough. A lot of people, get into keto for the first time, and they hear all these people saying, don't eat that much dietary fat because your body's going to be able to eat its own fat. You want enough dietary fat, especially if you're trying to tackle this mostly from a blood glucose regulation standpoint, insulin standpoint. So make sure you're getting enough dietary fat. I round on, what's that? On Licky? On Lick.
One round only.
One round, okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. Cindy says, any thoughts on how to adapt keto for a 2-year-old toddler?
We are not doctors. Let's just throw that out there first. We're not doctors. Anything that we say cannot be used against us.
Yeah.
Honestly, children can handle a little bit more carbs than adults can, first of all. So I would just slowly start transitioning them to eating more meat if you can. Meat is never going to be a bad thing. Keeping in some, maybe like some vegetables or some nuts or some seeds or something like that. But I think one of the greatest hints is to have no naked carbs. So you don't want just a carb. You don't want just berries.
And no vegetable oils or canola oils or linseed oils or any of the bad, heavily processed oils.
Yeah. So you don't want to just have berries. You would want to have like berries with a yogurt, which has protein and fat in it. Or you could have something like nuts, which have carbs, fat, and protein. So if they're going to have a carb, make sure that they're also having protein and fat with it, and that will help a lot more. But they will definitely burn through the carbs a lot more quickly if they do have some. So just do the slow transition. Try to have them eat more eggs, more meat.
Keto bricks, make some little keto bricks.
It's crazy how much the kids like the keto bricks. It's insane. Like my nieces and nephews are not keto, and they devour them. It's kind of insane. But I think it's because they don't get all that sugar when they're little. Most people keep them away from sugar for so long so that it seems so much sweeter to them. I don't know.
Any thoughts? Or no, still on it, still in it. Awesome, man. We'll keep rocking and rolling. And you will. I mean, that's the name of the game. Just steady consistency. Like I've been strict keto now for 6 years. Crystal's been keto for 5 years. It just keeps getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Thanks for answering my questions. I will do the kettlebell variations. You guys are the best. But thank you, Rosanna. You are the best. Cindy says he eats lots of meat, fish, and veggies, some snacks, berries, and Greek yogurt. Thanks. He actually loves my bricks. Well,
aw, that's great.
You're doing it all perfect there.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going wonderfully. They're probably going to want different things. Like if they're used to having little things, maybe you were giving them before, they're going to probably have that craving. But it doesn't mean that it's a natural craving because their body wants it. They're craving it because it was something sweet and delicious and candy or whatever it was. But it sounds like all of those are really great options. Someone who's really good at sharing their children's meals is Allie Miller. I don't think that they have Stella solely just on keto, but they do definitely go low carb with her. So if you look up Allie, she shares a lot of Stella's meals in her stories.
All right, so we got 2 more here. We'll knock these out. Thoughts on red light therapy? I actually would love to make this the topic for the next week's video, if you don't mind, Cindy, because I want to do some more research on this, but I'm really curious about this. So if you don't mind, we'll dive into red light therapy next week because I really want to learn more about that. And then this one is with high Triggs. I'd be curious what their omega 3 to 6 ratio is. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. So I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Ada?
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 Yeah, I think so.
And I don't know male or female. There's one of each in the picture there.
Yeah.
So I would definitely, as they say here, I'm losing track of these. As they say here, yeah, you definitely want to keep that in mind. With the fats, I mean, the fats are tricky because a lot of people go for the vegetable oils. If you look at a label, it may say olive oil on the label, and then you turn it around, it's got like, 1 part olive oil and then like 15 parts soybean oil, but they put olive oil in there because people know that that's good. So read all the ingredients and make sure you're getting a good quality fat source. And don't be afraid of like good, solid, animal-based saturated fats, especially if it's coming from, grass-fed, grass-finished beef sources. You don't really want to get a whole bunch of like, saturated fat from cattle that have been grazing on, not grazing, but eating a bunch of corn-fed stuff, because that will be in that fat. So really getting high-quality fats is going to help immensely. No industrial seed oils here. Yeah, so you're rocking and rolling. You're doing everything right.
Yep.
You are doing everything right. All right, so next week, we're going to talk about red light therapy, and we're going to finish this episode with a bicep flex from Crystal. So go ahead and see.
You guys can see all of that through my sweatshirt, right?
All right. Y'all have a great one. We love you, and y'all are awesome. We think you're the greatest, and a good point on the 3-to-6 ratio. Yes, very good point indeed. So we will see y'all next week. Take care, toodaloo. Have a great one, and adios.
Bye.